Hey, what's up, y'all? We're back in some more Knockout City. Today's gonna be a little bit different. We're not doing gameplay, we're doing a tips and tricks video. So I'm basically gonna be giving you some of the best tips in the game that I use to make me get better at this game. Alright, coming in at tip number 1. Some things I see new players don't do enough is passing the ball. When you get up against a team that knows how to pass and they're constantly throwing the ball to each other and just passing, and your team isn't passing, you're gonna lose that game every single time. You get such a huge advantage passing the ball because it charges your ball up and you can throw them, and most people get caught off guard, especially new players, when that ball comes in zooming out of nowhere. Alright, tip number 2 that I use. Pump fakes. Don't be doing these straight shots. Alright, straight shots are super easy to catch. Even throwing curve shots, they're not that hard to catch. But you use a pump fake in there, you're going to get most people every single time. Another thing that you want to do with pump fakes is it changes up the rhythm. So, me and this guy, we're throwing it back and forth. I'm throwing in curve shots. He's catching everything. But you're throwing that pump fake, zooming right at them, they're not ready for it. They think you're going to throw, especially if you're changing up your rhythm. So if you do straight throw, curve throw, pump fake, straight throw, you just want to be changing it up. You don't want to do the same thing every single time. Okay, the third tip that I use is in the settings tab. If you notice that when this guy's aiming at me, you see that red border around my screen? Sometimes it's hard to notice when you're in a fight and there's a bunch of people throwing balls at you, and you can actually go into your settings, and it's on this screen, on the settings cog, and you go to border wide thickness. For most people, it's going to be on thin or thinnest. I like to have mine on actually thick, but I'll show you what thickest looks like. See, now it's on thickest, and now you know that ball's coming at you. The reason why I don't like, you know, putting it on thickest, if you're just playing competitive reasons, I would absolutely have it on thickest, but the reason I don't like to have it on thickest is because of the game. You know, I want people to be able to see most of the screen, so I actually hold mine on thick. Alright, the next tip is juggling the ball off of players. This is one that happened to me a lot when I first started playing the game. Good players would get behind you and they throw it, and they do this little juggling thing. They stay in the air and juggle. I've used this a ton, and when you get up against a squad that's all running around, nobody's passing, and you just juggle off of them, 1, you'll be lucky that they don't leave the game because they're freaking pissed off, and 2, this is really hard to counter. Fuck. My next tip is actually about the sniper ball. Don't use this shitty ball. There's no skill. Sniper ball bad, don't use it. My next tip's also in the settings. If you look in your settings, you got all these different options for your quality of your gameplay. For me, where I got a system that can run basically any settings I want on this game, I got a few of them cranked up. Like, I like shadows on, it looks better. I got my resolution cranked up. But if you are on a PC or on your Xbox, if you got, I don't know if those settings are on Xbox, but if you're on a lower end PC, you can turn these down and it'll make your game run better. You'll get more FPS. It'll be smoother and actually affect your gameplay a lot. You can turn shadows all the way off. I know some people do that competitively. I just like the look of them. This FPS cap, I cranked mine up to unlimited. You might want to hold yours down at whatever hertz refresh rate that your monitor is. Alright, the next tip that I'm going to talk about is movement. I love the movement in this game. It's so unique. You don't see it a lot. Basically, you don't want to be just running around the map like this. Okay? Especially when you can sprint. When you're sprinting, you're jumping, you're changing directions, you use all the things that the game gives you to move around, and it just throws your opponents off. If you're one of these guys that's running, walking backwards, running, not even looking at them, I mean, you gotta be throwing some stuff in there, some fancy stuff. When I'm playing, I like to be off the ground as much as possible. I try to stay in the air, you know, use the glider, just keep throwing them off. Don't stand still. Another quick thing in the settings that I didn't mention, this blur, if you got a motion blur setting or this sprint blur, turn it off. I don't know why game developers ever put blurs in the game to make it more cinematic or whatever. I don't know. Turn the blurs off. Alright, the next thing I'm going to talk about is basically all the different types of throws you can do. You can do charge up throws, and this is pretty self-explanatory, but if you're just learning the game, you got charge up throws you can do. You can go and do a spin throw. That's good for throwing it around corners. And if somebody's above you, you can do the top down throw. We basically put topspin on the ball. other throws that you can do, so like this guy's ball is super charged up, right? You can dash and then throw in a slowie, and it might catch him off guard sometimes. That's something that I like to do a lot, is dash real quick and then throw a slow ball in there. Alright, these next tips are kind of be all combined together, but I'm basically going to be talking about how to use each individual ball. So like the bomb ball right here, you want to wait till the last second, till you think you can't hold it anymore, get rid of that thing. I waited just a little bit too long, but you understand the deal. You don't want to throw the bomb ball to him when it's not ready to blow, because they're going to throw it right back at you, and 9 times out of 10, they're going to throw it back to you, and then it's going to be ready. So I'll throw it now. And he probably would have got that off. I could have waited just a little bit longer, but it's just finding that sweet spot there in the middle. Cage balls. Okay, so with cage balls, it's actually not smart to use these cage balls when you're far away from the person. You actually want to use cage balls when you're pretty up close to them. The reason why is because if you throw the cage ball at them, say I'll hit him over here. I throw this cage ball at him, he's caged up. If he's got teammates beside him, it's going to be really hard for me to get over here and get that ball before they do. And see, I had to run all the way over there, I ran out of time. What you want to do with the cage ball is make sure you're right on top of them in a close battle, make them pump fake, and then take it, and you can dump them right off the map and don't give their teammates a time to catch it. Alright, next ball we're going to talk about is the multi-ball. This is probably a favorite for a lot of new players because you can just get in there and just spam. That's not actually what you really want to do. How I like to use the multi-ball is actually if you're playing with 2 other people and the game is just starting, take the multi-ball, pass to your teammates. Because then you can all have a ball and pass back and forth, supercharge, and then you can triple throw, double throw, and they're not going to catch all those balls. Another thing about the multi-ball is you want to change up the cadence, alright? You don't want to get in here and rapid fire this dummy. Alright, throw one, take the third pump fake it, throw that one, you know. Just make sure you keep changing it up, because this game is super predictable, and if people got good eyesight, they're going to see everything you do, so just make sure you change it up. Last ball we're going to talk about is the moon ball. This thing basically works just the same as a regular ball, except it's crazy good for movement. If you grab this moon ball, you're going to be in the air for longer, you're going to have more time, you can get more angles on people. So I can fly all the way behind somebody and stay in the air the entire time. Throw it behind them, they'll never even see you. Super good for movement, I would use it. Other than just using the ball normally, when you have this ball, make sure you're fucking flying around. My next tip is a sniper ball. Don't fucking use it, it sucks! I would say my next tip is know the maps. Know the maps you're playing on, understand the layout of them, and you can get a real tactical advantage hiding behind corners, flanking, you know. With your teammates. You always got to stay with your teammates, but know your maps, know the layout, know how to move around. Alright, my final tip of the game, the most important tip. If you want to get better at Knockout City, you have to play. You have to play the game to get better. If you show up and you just start getting smacked, you know, don't get discouraged. Just keep playing the game, keep grinding. It helps to play with teammates. It makes it more fun. It doesn't make it feel like a grind. This game is pretty sweaty in most lobbies, so if you feel like you're on the skill level, you're not as good, just keep grinding. Keep playing. Hook up with the squad. Get some dubs. We'll catch y'all later.